So wow, it can be feast or famine when you're selling postcards. My last video, I didn't sell any cards on Etsy or Hip, and I sold just a few on eBay. But today, overnight, I sold 27 postcards. 19 on eBay, 6 on Etsy, and 2 on Hip. So I went from nothing to something. So I'll go ahead and go through those today. Throughout the video, I'll sprinkle them through on what's sold so you can see the variety. That way you know what's can sell and the variety that are people are purchasing and looking for. For the special topic today, I have exaggeration postcards. Or were they called tall tale postcards? Again, crossover in the postcard world. I don't have a lot of those in my store, and you'll see why as I go through that special topic. Then I did another poll in the community tab. This one was kind of surprising. I thought it would be different. What's the number of postcard listings do you have? Is the poll I put out, and people responded. Over 40 people, but it's a good sample for what we have with the channel so far. And then I got some viewer comments, and one of them is an update from that postcard from the eBay standard envelope that the gentleman brought back to the post office because it was sent back to him for insufficient postage. But let me go ahead and get started. Got a lot of cards to go through. I'll do them pretty quick, and then we'll get into the special topic of exaggeration postcards. First card that sold on eBay was just another one of the boats, the pawpaw, $4 to $5. And then I'm still doing these photos, these little 3x5 photos. This one is Haler, and it's from the 1970s. This sold for $8.55, and it's just a small 3x5. I kind of like these because they fit. Here I go dropping stuff again. It fits right into the envelope and the sleeve, and that's how I mail them with a stamp. I can't use eBay standard envelope for this, but since it's $8.55, I put them in a stamp like I did for years, and they've been selling pretty good. I think $8.55 is a good number for this one. I'm getting what I need out of it, and the people are getting a deal. Now, if this was 8x10 or bigger, they would be worth 3 times as much money. But they're the smaller there, right? I got a whole box of these photos in there. This is just a sample that I got scanned up, and right there, I'd say about 200 photos, and I got a couple boxes of those, and they're all different ships. And then here's another one of the photos, the Perkins on there. It's just a 3x5 photo. Next one is the fighter jet. It's a Tomcat 14B, F-14B. These are neat cards. These have been doing pretty well, the fighter jets, and that sold for $4 to $5. Then I had another bigger order on eBay. A gentleman bought 8 cards. Now this is a mixture of a few different cards in there, but a lot of them are Chicago, and I am south of Chicago, about 50 miles. And I used to work in Chicago for years. I was a walker downtown in the Loop, and that'd be like Center City in Philadelphia, or the downtown, the business district of Chicago, right by the lake there. This is the Marina Towers on the Chicago River, right back there, going in the Chicago River. Easy living on the Chicago River. So those buildings are right there on the Chicago River. Then you got the helicopter going across Chicago skyline. Chrome card, $4 to $5. So he picked that one. Then he got into the Michigan Avenue, the new look. This is probably, oh God, I would say 50s. Just looking at that car right there. 1950s. Michigan Avenue is a shopping district right along the, a little bit off the Lakeshore Drive, like the next main road over. It goes from south to north. So that's, I think that's the lions right there at the art museum, where they always showed them on the bull shows and stuff. And then here's a good picture of the Marina Tower, Marina City on there. Those towers are right on the Chicago River, and that's a vertical card up and down. So he's picked out all these Chicago cards, and then he gets into a Missouri card. This is the Barracks Engineering Circle, Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri. It's a linen card, and there's the barracks right over here. But that's just an older linen card. It was posted in 1942. on there. So now he's in the Missouri. Then he goes back to Chicago and he picks out another Marina City. This is a chrome card. It kind of looks like a white border, but it's not. You can see it glistening on the side there. That's a chrome card, probably from the 50s or 60s. It does have the price on there from a flea market or antique booth. I don't take those off. But he picked that one up as well. And then the last card, there was 8 cards total that he purchased. This was Jasper County Courthouse, Carthage, Missouri. And this is a white border card. This, you can feel the solidness of it, and it's got the little, I kind of noticed that it's got that type of thing on the white borders a lot. But that's the Jasper County Courthouse. So 8 cards for one gentleman on there was a nice order, and those will not all fit into one of these envelopes and be probably, it'll be closer to ounces, but I'll pack that up since it's an 8 card order. I'll put them in an envelope, I'll wrap them in a poly bag, keep the moisture out, wrap them in cardboard, and put them into a craft mailer, and put a first class label on there, because he spent $8. And in the price, I have the 55 cents built in. He did get a volume discount for buying 8 cards, plus he's going to get full tracking with first class package. But let me go through a couple more cards here, a little bit more than normal, just to make sure I can get through them all in this video, make it not too long. The next one is another boat. This is the Anchorage. It's a landing ship dock. This was a cool one, and I've sold a few of these. They're pulling, there's a airboat, a hovercraft right behind there coming up to the ship. So that was a nice looking chrome card that someone bought. Beach scenes, Florida, Caribbean, or whatever. Always pick them up. This is Greetings from Fort Lauderdale. That's a nice shot of a beach there. Fort Lauderdale, $45. Somebody's been to that beach and wanted it. Now, I sold the Christmas card. I don't have many holiday cards in my store anymore. I don't list that many of them. But this is St. Joseph's Hospital. It's called Our Crib, Asheville, North Carolina. Merry Christmas. It's a nativity scene on there. So someone, it's the holiday season, so this is a linen card. Unposted. I think I got this up for $4 to $5 on there. Just about through eBay, and then because I got 6 cards on Etsy to do as well. And then I'll get into Exaggeration postcards. You gotta see these, because if you pick them up, you might be disappointed, is the word. This next one was a total montage. This is the K-Pop tree in, and if you're doing postcards, a lot of postcards, you're going to see the K-Pop tree in a lot of postcards from them. It looks like they had their own publishing company. But this is, you got to look at it for a second. That's the door, and there's 2, I don't know, statues in there. This was a different one that I see. I usually see the other K-Pop tree ends, and this is located in Mandria Beach, Florida. So $4 to $5, probably because it was different, and I didn't see that card before. Then we get into the this person bought 2 of the domes, any kind of auditoriums. He bought this one and this one from the Nashville Municipal Auditorium. So if you got any kind of auditorium, universities, you'll see some colleges today. But these were 2 totally different numbers, inventory numbers, different boxes, different times. Probably about a year apart that I put them up in the store, because I pulled them from different boxes and I made note of it. One of them has just got some writing on the back. It says, "Stayed in Nashville, lovely motel, on our way to Florida." So Snowbird. But those are the cards, you know, $8 for an auditorium. And the last card that I sold on eBay is the Range Motel in Dillsburg, Pennsylvania. Motels. And this has a sign right over here. So, and I wonder if that's the same sky, like that same sky postcard. That's probably it. And this is a Dexter press, so that's probably a sky that's over New York or something that they put on there, and they superimposed on that. Posted. This was posted in 1961. So in the 1960s is a motel. I always pick up motels on there. What we'll have left is just 6 cards on Etsy and 2 on Hip. But let me get into Exaggeration postcards, or tall tale postcards. what are all these things about? And are they worth it? I'm going to let you make your opinion, but I'll give you mine here in a minute when we go over the pricing. But exaggeration cards is what they're called officially. And here's the definition right down here. An exaggeration card is a type of humorous fantasy. A humorous fantasy postcard where an element of the composition is enlarged in size, which would be impossible. So let me read that again. An exaggeration card, postcard, is a type of humorous fantasy postcard where an element of the composition is enlarged in size, which would be impossible. Large fish or whatever, vegetables. This was mostly done using trick photography and other methods. The most common exaggerated objects was fruit and vegetables, but small animals, fish, insects also appear on these cards. Now I don't have many of these cards and I don't collect these cards, and you're going to see why in a minute. But they are neat to look at. And I do have a Pinterest account. I got over 10,000 pins up there. This is the same thing as comic cards. As I've said before, people will come in and look at them, get a giggle, and move on and not purchase them. And stuff like that. And it's the same with Pinterest. They just look at the comic cards, get a laugh, go on their way. So some of them do sell the humor cards, the comics, and the exaggeration, but not for a lot. It's probably not worth the time unless you got a good stack of them. But here's one that said, fruit and vegetables. Here's one with a horse and a corn. A load of corn from Indiana, it says. So it's just one corn cob on there. I'm going to talk about how they did these photos back then before they had Photoshop and computers and stuff. But that's the corn filling the whole wagon. Exaggeration. Impossible. The next one is we catch them big on Long Island. You'll see a lot of these vegetables and the fish. People fishing and they're pulling a big fish bigger than the boat. Impossible. Humorous fantasy. Impossible. But they were popular in their time. Most of these cards were produced in the Great Plains of the United States and Canada between 1905 and 1915. Golden Age of Postcards, 1905, 1911. This falls right in there, a little bit after. But this was when they did all those postcards during the Golden Age. The big demand, big supply, very popular cards, because it was neat back then to do that. Nowadays, with computers and Photoshop and everything, this is not as magical as when it was done back then. So it was kind of unique. While some exaggeration cards were printed, the majority take the form of real photo postcards using photo montage, which played on the notion that photographs don't lie. Just like the internet. Everything on the internet is true, right? Back then, photographs, they don't lie. They wanted to see this big corn or this big fish. And what am I talking about, a photo montage? What does that mean? I went out and got the definition for that. And here it is. A photo montage is a process and a result of making a composite photograph by cutting, gluing, rearranging, or overlapping two or more photographs into a new image. So as you can see here with the corn, I'll put that back up, they just had one picture of the horse and the wagon, and they superimposed or photo montaged the corn on there. And the same with the fish. They got the guy there and they just put him there, and then they photo montaged the fish into it. So that's how they did it. And back in those days, that was pretty neat. That was the neat thing. Someone could do that. Is that real? Photos didn't lie. So that was the big popular about these cards. Plus, if you send it to a friend, it's a laugh for them. And that's why they're just popular. Not so much today. They were also known as freak cards. And later, they're also called tall tale cards. That's your crossover. So you got exaggeration cards, freak cards, or tall tale cards. So you want to look at those three things when you see those. Most of these cards I will see in boxes of cards and lots. And on my first pass, I just pass them up unless they're really, really unique. Something that's going to stick out. But most of them were mass produced and during that golden age of postcards, so there's millions of them out there, on there. But let's take a look at the pricing. And this is the reason I don't do these cards unless they're very unique. And I'll let you make your own opinion on if you want to sell these types of cards. But here's the sold high. And I just went to eBay to make it simple like everybody does. And you're going to see a lot of these jackalopes too. Exaggeration postcards. Flying jackalope. That's one. I put this up because I haven't ever seen a flying jackalope. Tall Tale Humor Post. That is a nice title. Flying Jackalope Tall Tale Humor Post. So they're going to catch jackalope, they're going to catch tall tale, they're going to get in the search humor, and they're going to get postcard. It's probably postcard. So all those are probably going to hit search. So and you know exactly from the title pretty well what that card is. But that's only $2.95 with $1.95 shipping. So it's $4.95. It's sold for. Vintage Exaggeration Tall Tale Postcard. That title has Exaggeration Tall Tale Postcard, but they don't really need the word vintage in there. Most postcards are going to be vintage nowadays, unless they're 6x4 newer ones. But I would probably put on there train, oranges, or something else in the title to give it a little more pop in search. But that's sold for $2.32 on an auction with basically 99 cents, $1 shipping. So they got $3.32 for that card. So not a lot left over after you pay your fees and shipping and stuff like that. And auctions, you know, there was a day for auctions. Some people do auctions with postcards and they do very well because they do a mass quantity. But you got to get two people going at it to really raise the price in there. But if you got a unique card and you're really not for sure, and it's in demand, and you want to test the market, throw it in an auction. It brings other people in too. A lot of people that do postcards on eBay started with auctions. So to bring those people in to buy it now into your store, your eBay store, you might want to throw 100 cards out at an auction, or 20 or whatever, just to see if you can loss leader those people into your store to look at your other postcards. I've done that before. Auctions to me, they end and I got to manage it. It's just a lot of management to make sure I don't mix them up and don't relist them. And I don't do that auctions too often. I'm not a big auction guy. So those were the sold high, $2.50, $2.60 a card plus $1 shipping. Now let's look at the lows. What sold low out there? Now this is a big potato. Spud Relics. Again, Impossible, Humor Fantasy. Vintage Exaggeration Tall Tale Postcard. Same title as the oranges were. So it's probably the same seller and it was an auction. So it was a cut and paste on there. $1.79 they got and 99 cents. So basically they sold it for $2.80, $2.79. And that was an auction. Not much left on that one. The next one is an RPPC, Exaggeration Rabbit Hunting. It's probably not an RPPC. It's a photo montage, is what it is. And $1.99, 86 cents. And this is probably during the golden age of postcards when there's billions of postcards out there. Even though it's an RPPC, they said, even though it looks like that, that's all it brought into an auction. So these cards are not selling for a good dollar amount. And is it worth the time to do that? And here's probably one of the amazing things about postcard pricing. So those cards sold under $4, average $4, $4.25. Now let's look at the listed high. You got $14.99 plus $3 shipping, so you're paying $18 for this card. $14, all of these are probably the same seller. And there's a comic postcard, $14 and $17. Statistically saying, those three cards right there probably will not sell. They could, like I've always said, someone might pop in there and see it, and they don't do postcards. It's an impulse buy, just like at the register at the grocery store. You want that candy bar, and you didn't know you wanted it until you got in the line. They didn't know they wanted that fish in the water there until they saw it. So you will get some impulse, but to have a steady postcard store, these prices to me are out of line. But that might be what they need, and they might be selling those. But statistically, and what I know and what I've seen, those are going to be a hard sell. Now let's look at the listed low on eBay of these cards. $3.98, 99 cents shipping. So you're talking $5 for the postcard of those peaches. $3.98 for those that have a better chance of the $14 ones. These might make it, and you might make a little bit of money on these cards, but that's the listed low. So there's not a lot of meat on the bone, as they say, with these exaggeration postcards, and I don't sell many of them. When I did all that tracking, when I started putting my postcards up for sale, I tracked for a lot of different things, and this was one of them. And these that were like greeting cards and St. Patrick's Day and Christmas, you know, without the purple Santas or blue Santas. There's just so many of them. They didn't sell well. So I don't actively search or source exaggeration postcards. So if you see them and you want to niche into them, I'll leave it up to you. My thoughts, they're like comic cards. I'll pass. But if they do get in there, one might slip in. If it's unique, I'll put it in there. But tall tale, freak cards, exaggeration postcards. Who knew? So now let's get into what I sold on Etsy. Remember the other day I didn't sell anything on Etsy. And Etsy and Hip are slower. 80% of my sales, postcard sales, per card is on eBay. 15% on Etsy. 5% on Hip. It goes up and down 2%. You know, I'll give a up and down here and there throughout the year, but that's usually where it falls by the end of the year. So you always want to focus where the water's coming out the most, and that's eBay. But these were all single orders on Etsy, and this one is university, library, universities. Make sure you put that in the title, and if it's a library. I had a person the other day tell me a postcard. They sent me a message on Etsy, and the postcard said, "This is Dawes building at some university in Missouri or whatever." They said, "No, that's Gilman, not Dawes." Well, the back of the card said Dawes, and the viewer said Gilman, and I believe the viewer, but the card says Dawes, so I put it in the title. Is this Dawes, ? Or Gilman? And then in the description I said a viewer said this was Gilman, not Dawes, but the back of the card says Dawes. So it's kind of like maybe a misprint or something like that. But I didn't want to just go change the title, and the back of the card says one thing, and then there. So I just explained it in the description, and we'll see what it does. I've had a few of those. I had a mountain one time. It was like Mount Mitchell, and the guy come back and said, "No, that's not Mount Mitchell. I just got back from there. That's this mountain." I said, "Well, the back of the card says this." Well, he ended up buying it, but it was a misprint, and I was believing the viewer. So the postcard people know what they're looking at most of the time, I found. But the next card this is a Lower Falls from Red Rock, Yellowstone. So it's a Yellowstone card, linen, just a Lower Falls, unposted, Yellowstone. They do sell. Next one, Caribbean, Hawaii. Never seen this card before, but it's just a basic generic Hawaii card. And it was posted in 1969. Kind of newer. Chrome card. Etsy. $4 to $5. More boats. I love boats. Ships. Martha's Vineyard. Shrimp boat. In the harbor. $4 to $5 on Etsy. This next one was kind of neat. This is the AMF Monorail. New York's World Fair. It's a chrome card. Didn't really see that much special, so I didn't price it up, but it's more of a artistic drawing of the AMF monorail, and it probably mass produced. $4 to $5 got that for. And the last card on Etsy was a linen card, the Shoreline Drive at Hungry Mother State Park near Marion, Virginia. Hungry Mother Park. There's your blue and your linens. This doesn't have that texture. It has more of a smooth texture on there, but it's not a chrome. It's not a white border. I put it more just the way the paper feels. It is a linen, but it doesn't have the big rag, the texture on it on there. but it does have the linen paper, so I would mark this as linen. Sometimes you just got to take the best guess you got on there. But that's 6 cards on Etsy I did, and 19, so that's 25 cards between 2 sites so far, so it's been a very good day. Now tomorrow I might sell 2 cards. You got to ride that roller coaster. Don't stop listing postcards just because you have a bad day or a bad couple days. It will bounce back once you get a certain volume of cards up there and have a good price, good titles, good photos, and you're managing it. But postcards, some of them do take a while to sell. Now let me get into this poll. And what is a poll? In the community tab, since the channel has reached 500 subscribers, I was able to get the community tab turned on. They turned it on from YouTube, and I was able to put polls out there. And these polls are very short. They go out on Saturday mornings at about 9 o'clock Central Time, my time, Chicago time. And I just put questions out there. And if you got any questions, you want me to put a poll up, just to, I'm looking for ideas. So just to fill this up, get as many polls that we can, information, just to see where we fall. This one was about, I said, how many postcard listings do you have? I've always wondered, with my postcard listings, when I first started out, I always said, how many postcards do I need to really make it worthwhile? I had the toy store running very well, very successful, and it was carrying the postcards because I moved to an eBay anchor store, and they are only giving me like 500 listings. It took a while to build that up on there, and some months I had the toys. I basically made my bills and everything, but I wasn't bringing in the cash flow or the profit dollars, and the toys kind of had to carry it for a little bit. But I was wondering, what is the number that you need to really make this work? There's never been a time I didn't pay the $300 of the anchor store or make my bills. But there's been times where I just broke even when I first started. And don't get discouraged. That's just the way it is. It does take a little bit. But with how many listings does it take? When I reached about 6,000 postcards listed on eBay, that's when I saw a nice consistent cash flow coming in weekly. So that was and I've talked to a few other large postcard sellers, and they said about the same thing. 5,000 to 6,000 cards was a good number where they felt comfortable, and they were selling cards every day. They were packing 5 to 10 cards a day on there. So that kind of level set me, but I wanted to put this poll out there just to see where everybody else is at. And we had 49 people vote on here. So here's the poll. So I did 1 to 500, 501 to 1,000, 1,000 to 2,000, anything over 2,000. I was surprised. 51% said they have 1 to 500 postcards up. Hopefully they're selling some other things. Only 10% said 500 to 1,000. 1 to 2,000 is 12%. And then I thought this number would be higher. Greater than 2,000 postcards was only 27%. So these people are either happy with what they got, or they just got a big lot and they just put them up there. But I thought there would be more people over 2,000 postcards than there was under 500. But the magic number that I found was about 5,000 to 6,000 postcards. And that's what this poll told me. So this kind of level sets me that I'm not talking to the big listers. I'm not talking to the real low listers. There's average people selling the average number of postcards, which is cool. We're getting more people out there. But if you haven't voted yet, go out there. There's polls are out there. Take a look. I got different ones, like you use a camera or scanner and different things. But one comes out every Saturday. I think I got them all the way done through December that I scheduled them out. Simple to do. Some neat stuff to look at. But the number of listings is correspondent to the number of sales. Sell-through rate on postcards is 2 to 5%. That means you're going to sell 2 to 5 cards out of every 100. That's just the average. Now you might have some unique cards that you're going to sell more, but 2 to 5%. So you got to have a lot up there. It's a quantity game to a point, unless you're working at the high-end cards, artist signed, RPPCs, unique ones. Yeah, you can put 100 cards up and make good money on those. But the sourcing is a little different. Those are in a lot of collections, harder to find. But if you want to stay in the average, quantity is the game. So keep listing. That's what I tell people. And remember, if you sell 10 cards and you list 20 cards, you've only gained 10 listings. That's the struggle that I'm at. I just sold 27 postcards, but I only listed maybe yesterday 50. So I only gained 20 to keep my store moving on there. So if I want to reach a certain number, say I want to put 10,000 postcards up, when you start selling, you got to adjust your listing daily, your average for the week or whatever. Polls. Take a look at them. Knock off these 2 HIP postcards. Now remember, HIP right now is having an issue with syncing up and stuff, but they do have a little workaround, but you want to be careful if you sell a card on HIP that you get it taken down on eBay. But this was a older card. This is this is what they call an undivided back. And I do have a video. We just did a video about the undivided backs. And this is a good example of one. And this was 1906, so it's right when the Golden Age postcard started. But you can see the writing tab right at the bottom there. And this is the Hotel Buttonwoods, Rhode Island, right on there. And the lady, they actually drew an arrow where they stayed. But unposted, or posted undivided back, there's no line. Only can put the address on the back here. It says this side for address. Undivided back. Very simple card to identify on there. I got $4 or $5 on that one. And the next one is Hickory Nut Falls in Chimney Rock section. This is the second Chimney Rock that I've sold. And this was another, I remember this card because this was another shot that I didn't see. And this is a white border card on here, on there. So that's Hickory Nut. God, how do they make these names? Hickory Nut? I don't see any nuts there, unless there's nuts at the top. But it's a vertical card, $4 to $5. So that was a total of 27 postcards that sold. Very good day. I'm happy with that day. Better than the other day. And it was across the 3 platforms, across all my boxes. I went from the earlier boxes I put up years ago, postcards, to some of the newer ones. So they're selling out of every box. So even though if I put a postcard up 2-3 years ago, I still sell them. And on there. Since I got all the cards out of the way, favorite section of the videos, viewer comments. I got about 3 comments here today to go over. One of them is a reply to one that came in earlier, follow-up. But the first viewer comment from Rick. Mark, I saw the first class problem a few times too. And he's talking about when you go in to ship a postcard with eBay standard envelope, it doesn't give you that option because either you're in the wrong category or it's just not there. And that's why I keep stamps and envelopes here. And I use stamps and envelopes for Etsy because they don't have eBay standard envelope. But I just throw them in a stamp in there. But he said, I saw the first class problem a few times too. I think the problem is the new item specific unit of sale needs to be set to single unit. So in the item specifics, there's a unit of sale. So Rick is saying make sure you have single unit in there. I double checked mine and mine were. Since I did a bulk update to all my postcards and sports cards, I haven't seen this again. So maybe he's onto something. So go check that unit of a sale and make sure you got single in there wherever you can. And you can download that when you go to item specifics. Over on the right side it says download, and it'll download a spreadsheet, and then you can go in and mass bulk it and then change it to CSV, follow the instructions they have, and you re-upload it, and it'll do that. It's easier to work in a spreadsheet when you got a lot of them. Another glitch he has noticed, though, is once in a while when shipping an eBay standard envelope item, it defaults to priority mail. He doesn't even offer priority in his business policy, his shipping policies. I'm always careful to check the shipping service and cost before I click purchase shipping label. Yeah, so when you come up, sometimes eBay will default to first class or priority, like he said. And if you click buy the label, then you're just bought an $8 label, you know, for a postcard. And you can void the label. There's a process to go through and void the shipping. It just takes more time, and you don't get your money back right away. So when you go to click on eBay, down at the bottom, make sure it says 53 cents, 73 cents, or 93. Also, if you sell like 3 cards, sometimes they combine them and the price will be 93 cents because they put 3 ounces up there. You got to go up and change it to whatever ounce, like 1 ounce and stuff like that. Or if it goes over, say you sell 5 cards, it might say 5 ounces, then an eBay standard envelope is grayed out. Go up and change it to the ounce, 3 ounces and under, then you'll be able to get that back. But he's absolutely right. Those are the things you want to look for. I just think it's sometimes a glitch. Sometimes they put your postcards, when they did the October 12th fall update moves, they put the postcard in the wrong category, stuff like that. I haven't had it happen lately, but check your single unit, your item specifics, like Rick said. Check your defaults, like he suggested, and make sure it's right there, and you should possibly get by most of the problems. Will little hiccups happen here and there? Yeah. Or a lot of times I'll just back out and refresh the screen and go back in and see what it does. So that's the first class problem in priority. Now that next comment is the follow-up to the gentleman that got a postcard back for insufficient postage on the eBay standard envelope, and it was 53 cents. And he couldn't understand why he got that back. So I would have just put him in a stamp and sent it on, but he was going to the post office anyway, and he followed up with me here. Says, "Hi Mark, I ended up taking the insufficient marked envelope to post office, and they just stamped out the error. We both suspected that someone just saw the 53 cents paid and assumed it was wrong and didn't know about the eBay label and its discount. Sure hope this doesn't keep happening." eBay standard envelope, I would say it's still a little new. I just dropped a couple cards when I went to the dentist yesterday to a local community post office. Hopefully they know what that is over in that town. But so he did take it back. They did re-mail it. They stamped out the error on that. So thanks for the follow-up. But I'm getting a lot of questions from people saying, "Hey, my card didn't get delivered. It says delivered," etc. You want to type up a little blurb that says, "Hey, eBay standard envelope's not like packages. It hits the last destination, blah, blah, blah. It should come there in the next couple of days. I'll follow up with you, or please let me know if it arrives." Most of the people I send that out to, within a day or two, they say, "Hey, I got the card. Thanks for the information," and stuff like that. So I have a little blurb I send out. I've had a few people open up cases on there, and I just let them know, please close the case once you get the card. It should show up. If it does take a long, long time, I will refund. I had one from November 9th. It just got lost. It'll probably end up showing up sometime, but I just refunded them, told them to keep the card if it does come, and stuff like that. So you just want to be truthful with people. Sometimes it's out of your control, but we are still responsible to get it to their house, and everybody's always fully covered with me, no matter what I sell. If they pay, I ship, and if they don't get it, I refund, and they get everything back. Refunds, I don't have that many. It's under 0.5% of items sold. So, and I do 60-day free returns, non-immediate payment. So I don't have the problems that some people see. The next question I got here, along with a great way of money management, he's talking about a video I did about managing money or whatever way back in the beginning. It's an older video from the early, about, first of the year. Along with a great way of money management, what accounting software do you use? So I don't use really any accounting software, but I have different sources of income. You got HIP, you got Etsy, and you got eBay, for example, and I got the flea market. So if I sell out at the flea market, I put that into a tab on the spreadsheet. I use GoDaddy bookkeeping to grab the data from Etsy. I do pay for that because it just makes my day easier. I get the total sales and breakdown of the expenses, and I put that on a tab. HIP is very low, so I just do that manually into the spreadsheet. I just, when it sells, I hit the transaction. I got it built on there, so I can manage that. I don't need anything to do that. And then eBay, I use Easy Auctions Tracker, and there's a link in the description for that. It actually has an inventory tab. It'll put your cost of goods sold if you put it in there. It grabs all the data from eBay when you run it. Gives you a profit and loss. It gives you some charts. It captures data, what the fees are. And so I use that, and I put that into the spreadsheet, and all of it calculates to another tab that says all total. So I do use eBay Auctions Easy Auction Tracker for eBay. GoDaddy bookkeeping to grab the data for Etsy is the only two I use. Now, coming to the end of the year, you want to make sure you got your paperwork caught up, stuff ready for taxes. All of my stuff comes together, and I give my CPA, my accountant, once a year I give her like 15 numbers, and that's all she needs. I have all the backup data here. And on that, do I keep receipts? If I go out and buy 5 postcards, no. I don't have all those receipts, but if I do buy a big, large lot, like I bought the ships, I do have that invoice copied into that month. I scan all my stuff into the PC, but I track it and I give her like 15 numbers, and she puts it into the system on there. And then you want to look into, there might be some requirements if you're selling a lot of money that you got to do quarterly taxes to the government. Remember, starting in 2022, next year, I think there's a different thing for the 1099s. They're going to send that to you. I don't really look at it because I've been paying taxes all along. I send out a quarterly payment every quarter. The next one's due in January, and I just send it to the IRS. So my taxes are paid. That's the self-employment tax. So if you get a 1099 and you made $1,000, you might owe $20 or, but I would talk to a tax accountant to make sure make sure you have expenses, Schedule C's and stuff like that. You can take some of your stuff off on all that, but I don't get into tax that much because each one's different. But the goal is not to pay taxes, but that you will end up paying them. So that's why the prices of some of these postcards I see, 99 cents and stuff like that, there's just not enough there. By the time everything takes a bite out of your apple, you're not going to be left with too much. So you want to make sure you get your dollar's worth. But using these different softwares is they enable me every morning just to run my numbers, and I can put them into a spreadsheet within 5 minutes. And then every quarter I go through and chew everything up at the end of the year. It just makes it easier for me on there. So I think it's a convenience cost. So, but I also have like 4 different checking accounts in my business. On there I have the operating expense where everybody's connected to, PayPal, eBay, and stuff like that. I only allow people connected to that. The next one is my inventory money, what I can buy postcards. I put a certain amount of money every month into that, so I know what I can spend. And then I have my taxes, larger, my business insurance and other stuff that I pay yearly that are larger. I put so much money every month into that, so when those big bills come up or I pay my quarterly taxes, I already have the money. And then I have what I call surplus. That's whatever's left over, I don't keep in the other ones, goes into there, and that's my, I would say, the profit bucket or savings bucket for the weather, the slow times and stuff. I can pay out of there. But I have a video on that. But if you want to know how I track it, I created this monster spreadsheet. It was the greatest spreadsheet in the world, I thought. And being with a technical and programming background, I worked a lot on this, and I created an ugly monster. It was just so hard to make changes and stuff. It just grew, and I should have known better. But I have a video about that and then how I simplified it. So if you want to check this video out, it's a little geekish on some of the financial stuff, but if you're going to run a successful business, you need to know some basics. Not saying my way is the best, but you got to have some kind of process system to keep track of the stuff. You can get overwhelmed. But that's everything I got for today. Don't forget about Exaggeration postcards, and I'll catch you on the next one.